At the moment I'm recording this video, there is a great deal of fear in the markets because we had a month and a half of up only, and now we're down a bit. And let's just be real, you should be up since April 7th at least, but who knows, because when did you buy? I don't know. Now, I just want to lay out a framework in this video for reasons why you shouldn't be too scared. Now, listen. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin for the most part, or this video is entirely about Bitcoin. I'm not promising anything with altcoins. Some charts look really ugly. I would say the Ethereum chart does not, and that's the most important chart to not look ugly. The XRP chart does not. The Solana chart looks pretty ugly. No arguing with that. But I don't see any reason to panic at all with Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin drives the market, so be it. And considering the fact that we're in a downtrend on Bitcoin dominance, we need to put some pieces together. And so let's go ahead with this video and put some pieces together. Now, before we dive on in, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification button as well. But anyway, let's dive on into this. I've already shared this chart. I just wanted to remind you of something. The Bitcoin hash ribbon indicator flashed a buy signal. This was from a few days ago, but it's still very relevant to now because just do me a favor, do yourself a favor and look at every buy signal on this chart. Are there any that are really that bad when it comes to downward price action later? The only one that I would say is that's kind of a bummer is this one right here. Mid to late 2022. And what happened after that? I mean, we had the FTX collapse after that. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the FTX collapse, if that didn't happen, that Bitcoin would have just been hanging around $20,000 for the rest of 2022. But instead, it went down to 16,000, under 16,000. And thank you, FTX, because I did buy that dip. But that's the only one. That's really every other one here precedes either a chop or a pump. And so what's the deal? In my opinion, I just don't really see a scenario where Bitcoin dumps all that much from here. And I want to lay that out in this video. Now, could we chop? Well, yeah, it's June now. Happy June. But unfortunately, sell in May and go away is a thing that you need to keep in mind. There's no guarantees that sell in May and go away is how it's going to play itself out this time around. I can make very compelling arguments that sell in May and go away is not a thing this time. But if it is a thing, what's most likely going to happen for Bitcoin is a chop, and hopefully, crossing fingers, dotting T's, crossing I's, I don't know. Hopefully, what we'll see as well is a continued move down in Bitcoin dominance. So if we do have a chop for Bitcoin, maybe that's not terrible for altcoins. Maybe it's a very good thing for altcoins. So hash ribbon indicator, I just wanted to remind you of that. Guys, very little history of this being a bad, a bad buy signal. We have some other things from a Swiss block here. No panic in sight. Bitcoin met sharp resistance at 109K, dropped to 104.7K, but all in all, selling is controlled. Realized P&L shows low intensity losses, no panic, no mass exits, no selling pressure equals less downside risk. Prepare for more bullish consolidation. And you can see, I mean, look at the selling intensity from previous months versus now. That's not really all that to cry about. Now, I did just see this comment from somebody I've never heard of this person. Mindsets probably has a pretty small following. Yeah. Can we touch 102, 101? I'll tell you now, I do have a limit order set right at 102. I don't remember exactly where it was. 102, somewhere between 101 and 102. So sure, that's the kind of consolidation that I'm talking about. Bitcoin was for about 100 days in a range between 100 and 108. It lost that range at some point, but based off of all the metrics that I'm seeing, I would say that we're going to keep that range maybe even throughout the entire summer in the Northern Hemisphere. But we'll see. Willy Woo. I have a couple things from Willy Woo today. Our Bitcoin vector framework remains strong despite the pullback. What's happening is technical resistance in the form of a bearish divergence playing out against strong fundamentals. Basically, Bitcoin ran up faster than normal and is equalizing. 100%. 100% agreed. I mean, listen, we went from 74 and change to 112 in a month and a half. It's okay, guys. It's okay. All right. Moving on, Alpha Ractal, something that also has me of a mindset that we're not going to see a huge dip from here. When Bitfinex long positions rise, the 10 prices fall. When long positions drop, the price usually goes up. The fascinating Bitfinex leveraged positions data remains off the radar for most analysts, either due to a lack of awareness or simply because they don't consider Bitfinex relevant for their analysis. But tracking Bitfinex long positions can offer valuable insights into their price movements. Why? Because traders are often wrong about market direction, leading to liquidations and forced position closures that drive the price in the opposite direction. Right now, Bitfinex long positions are dropping. If this trend continues, it's a good sign that the price may keep climbing. But if longs start rising again, it's a strong signal that a price drop could be coming soon. So you can see here, I mean, this is a chart going back to 2018, my goodness, and very high leveraged long positions at an interesting time in 2022 and in 2023. I mean, you can see the peak of the Bitfinex leverage long positions in 2021. And so here's the trend. Okay, this is what matters. We are going down. We are decreasing our leverage long positions. And I mean, even think about this. James Wynn, if you don't know who he is, he wrote up an account to almost $100 million, and then he just recently got liquidated. And he's the butt of many jokes on X right now. And he's not long anymore because he got liquidated. So there's an example of lots and lots of money that is no longer in the market for leverage, and it was a very high leverage position. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Decode. I've shared with you this oscillator index, Bitcoin Liquid Index, and you can see all this entire run up. And we're talking about this entire run up from the bear market bottom to today was in the red. According to this indicator. And at some point, it's going to be in the green. And how bullish is that going to be when this is in the green? My goodness. It's a big reason why I am absolutely convinced that the peak of this cycle, we could go higher in 2025, whatever, we could go higher in early 2026, but the peak of this cycle is going to be closer to the next halving than the previous one. In other words, more than 11 months from now, after April of 2026, Bitcoin will peak, and it may be explosive. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was explosive. Another reason, a big reason why right now I am not interested in selling my Bitcoin. I am still even interested in accumulating Bitcoin even now. But, okay, this isn't all an entirely bullish post, okay? Willy Woo, Dear Mr. Bitcoin, you have 2 days and 16 hours, or from when you're watching this video, you have much less time than that, to rally, or you're going to print a bearish divergence on the weekly charts, and then we will be bored for weeks and weeks, maybe months. So bearish divergence on the weekly charts, we hit a higher high in the Bitcoin price, but RSI didn't get nearly as strong. Pretty textbook bearish divergence. And so what happens over the next couple weeks, few weeks here? All right, we rally to a new all-time high. We're probably going to chop. That's probably what's going to happen for a few weeks, for a few months even with Bitcoin. Hopefully, again, Bitcoin's dominance remains in a downtrend and altcoins can gain some strength. I don't know. But this is not a good sign for the next couple weeks, next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. Maybe even longer. Sell in May and go away. Anybody? De-risk in May is what I would say. Just don't be too tied to your emotions on this one. All right. So that's done. That's it for short-term analysis. Okay. Quinton Francois, I've shared some stuff. Very bullish, very, very bullish guy. Bitcoin supply on exchanges just hit a 7-year low of 14%. A 7-year low? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because the all-time high, like I've said, was during COVID. It doesn't look like that on here, but the charts that I've seen, Bitcoin's all-time high for supply on exchanges was during COVID, March of 2020. And then you can see we are lower than where we've been at any point since 2018, it's looking like. So this is going down, and it's going to continue to go down, especially as OTC supply goes down. OTC supply is running dry. It'll probably be out by this time next year. And so after OTC goes down, this is going to go down big time. Long enough timeline, we're very bullish. Another strategy for buying, better than DCA, simply buying when Bitcoin is trading below its production cost when miner margin turns green. Sounds good to me. And so what do we have here? I mean, even at points in, May, June, July of last year, those would have been good times to buy. Right now, we're much higher, but what's most likely going to happen is miner cost will go up significantly. And then, maybe Bitcoin's price would go down a little bit and we would see that happen. And how could you be bearish when things like this are happening? Trump media officially signs $2.3 billion deal to buy Bitcoin and hold it as a treasury asset. $2.3 billion, billion with a B. Someone on my live stream on Friday told me that GameStop, they bought 4,700 Bitcoin, half a $1 billion, that they're wanting to buy another, I think, $2.5 billion of Bitcoin. That's not an insignificant amount. $2.5 billion of buys, especially with OTC running out, is worth paying attention to. And that's from GameStop. Of all places, that's from GameStop, guys. Come on. All right, moving on. Last thing here. This is Bitcoin adjacent. Jordan Lindsay. You guys got to follow Jordan Lindsay. He's fantastic, just very level-headed, good man. The most important chart in markets, a breakout or breakdown from this critical USD JPY pattern forming could trigger shockwaves throughout the global financial system. The unwinding or acceleration of the 20 trillion yen carry trade will ripple through interest rate markets, currency hedges, and risk assets worldwide. So we have here, we want this to go up if you didn't know. Look at, June, July of last year. Look at the bottom in August 5th. Anybody? That terrifying moment when we thought the world was going to collapse and then a week later everything was fine. This go down, not good. It goes up, bullish. And look at what Bitcoin's price did from this local bottom here up to its peak in early 2025. Bitcoin doubled, more than doubled actually. And so, hey, Bitcoin's been doing well during a downward movement in the Japan carry trade. But man, if we lose this floor, that's going to be pretty ugly. And if we break to the upside, it's going to be very bullish. So I'm still learning. I want to fully admit this. I am still learning about this, but the significance of Japan, I have come to understand it really matters because that's been the safe haven for cheap money for years, for decades. And now, is that coming to an end? If so, I don't know, man. At some point, there's going to be a reckoning. I do have a lot of belief in that. It's just a matter of when. Will we have a 1999 type run, or will we just be packing our bags and saying goodnight sometime soon? Who knows? But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I will most certainly be seeing you in another video.